What's going on, and welcome to Joe's Geek Show, the video series where we talk comics. And before we get started, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by hitting that subscribe button, liking this video, and sharing. And with that, DCeased Dead Planet, issue number 3. And this book is written by Tom Taylor with pencils by Trevor Harrison, inks by Gigi Baldassini, with colors by Rain Barreto, and letters by Saida Tamafonte. And this book starts off with Swamp Thing, Detective Chimp, Constantine, and a recovering Zatanna, who upon waking up wonders how she's alive, when Detective Chimp tells her Blue Devil saved her. Which I thought this was a very interesting thing, considering, and even in the book it says, that her lungs were filled with Plastic Man's plastic. I would have thought at that point infection would be unavoidable, but I guess whatever Blue Devil did to save her prevented that from happening as well. So hey, Zatanna's alive. Zatanna then asks Swamp Thing to lower the green, where she sets the Plastic Man ablaze. Quickly after, they begin taking gunfire, where after it stops, the Penguin steps forward, saying they can enter. Back at Ivy's garden, Damien is sewing up John's cape, when Jim Gordon walks up, finding it funny that Batman sews. Jim extends a hand, which Damien rejects, and instead hugs him. Jim, once again caught off guard, makes a joke about Batman not really being a hugger, where they continue to joke, saying Batman's true fare was that of intimacy and could have been chased out of Gotham with a simple pat on the shoulder. So first off, Plastic Man burning. Ew. Even in the book, the smell of plastic and the smell of human flesh, all rolled into one. No thank you. Secondly, I really love this scene between Damien and Jim. Because for one, it continues to show Damien's growth as a character, because when he left the Earth, he was, a teenager. He was still growing, kind of finding his way, which led him to, of course, really coming to his own as Batman. And over the course, we get to see just how different of a Batman he really is. The fact that now Damien is at a point in his life where he can actually smile. He hugs instead of shakes hands, especially when it comes to Jim, because, he has known Jim since he was a kid. So to me, it just reads like he sees Jim as close as family. And it is nice to watch Jim reciprocate this, and they start having a joke at Batman's expense. And I'm not gonna lie, I got a big laugh out of this as well. And also from the art perspective, like the last 2 issues, I really like how it starts off as a moment with the background, but then just fades to white, as it's just a moment of time that these two can have. Nothing else really exists around them. And of course, these moments, they must end. Because it's then that Dr. Fate hovers down to tell Damien that John's healing was successful, where we cut to John being woken up by Crypto. It's then he notices Mary Marvel sitting in a chair, but doesn't realize it's her until she transforms. John then asks of his whereabouts, to which Mary Marvel fills in the blanks. Meanwhile, back with Constantine and the others, they find that the world's richest scumbags had pre-built a bunker where they can continue to live in luxury at the expense of the soldiers' families being the hired help. Swamp Thing also touches a fruit and feels the green crying out when Constantine is pulled off to the side by Jason Blood, who turns into Etrigan, where he tells Constantine that Trigon is planning to surface and kill everyone in order to get the trapped souls into hell, since they're not exactly dead, but rather just trapped in their own bodies. To make matters worse, Swamp Thing begins attacking as Zatanna tells Constantine it's because they've enslaved the Floronic Man, where they force him to make food and shelter. And just as a quick little aside, the Floronic Man is also the character Jason Woodrue. Yeah, that guy from Batman and Robin. And besides Floronic Man, he's also been known as Plant Master and the Cedar. And for more information on this character, make sure to check out 1962's The Atom, issue number 1, 1976's The Flash, issue number 245, and 1984's Swamp Thing, issue number 21. And since Constantine doesn't want too much trouble, he tries talking Swamp Thing down, who has Maxwell Lord wrapped up, who does himself no favors by insulting Swamp Thing, in which the Guardian of Green pops his head off. And I'll just say that that'd make Wonder Woman so proud. Seeing as how Wonder Woman at one point broke Maxwell Lord's neck by twisting his head around. Comics. What a rich, fulfilling history you've had. Also, I don't know if this is part of a joke or anything like that, but the way it happened with Swamp Thing wrapping up Maxwell Lord and popping his head off did remind me of this old rhyme that we used to sing as kids, where you would pick up a flower from the ground and you'd be all like, Mama had a baby and its head popped off, and you just flick the top of the flower head off. Is it deliberate? I don't know, but I like to think it is because it's kind of funny because now Swamp Thing is popping your head off. Unfortunately, in retaliation, the Penguin unleashes a Mazo who turns Swamp Thing into ash. Zatanna manages to halt the android, and Swamp Thing is able to reform himself, and although he's hesitant to abandon Floronic Man, he joins everyone else as they escape the compound. And then we immediately go back inside where we find out that Penguin has hundreds more Amazos, which he says they'll use to retake the world. A day later at Ivy's garden, Superman and everyone question Cyborg about the cure, but he's unable to find it in himself. It isn't long before Batman and Constantine conclude that they need a new god in order to discover the cure, since it was born of the anti-life equation. So Constantine and Detective Chimp set off to a cabin where we see a disheveled figure, the figure of Mr. Miracle, who at first wants nothing to do with Constantine before Constantine reveals there is a cure and they can save Big Barda, and to prove it, he's holding the lasso of truth. The issue ends with Constantine then telling Mr. Miracle he needs his help to steal the throne from a god. So to quickly recap, there's a cure, but it seems like they're going to need a new god in order to get it out. Penguin has an army of Amazos at his disposal, which theoretically he's just going to use to start obliterating people. Because, you gotta clear out the infected somehow. And on top of that, Trigon is planning to wipe out the entire planet because, hey, what good are those souls if they're trapped inside these zombified bodies, which aren't really dead and can actually be reversed? So, it's a bit of a race against the clock going on here. Tom Taylor's really going in on this full force, and I'll tell you, I definitely feel the stakes of the situation. Because of course I want this to be a happy ending. I want the heroes to find the cure. I want them to uninfect everybody before Penguin or Trigon decide to destroy everything. There's just the tiniest glimmer of hope there, and I'm pretty sure Tom Taylor's gonna snuff it out at some point. I mean, between DCeased Unkillables, and what's going on in this one so far, this is probably not gonna be a happy ending, which I'm probably okay with that. But it all just makes the story a lot more personal. I love how personal it is for the characters. I love the characterizations. Again, just to touch on the relationship that we just saw between Jim and Damien, and just overall how we've seen some of these younger characters grow over the course of them being in their roles. I know that I'm also missing a bit of the story because Hope at World's End has been coming out and I have not been reading that. Been waiting for physical, but I think I'm about to break down. But Tom Taylor is writing an amazing book. Trevor Hairston's pencils are on point, the colors are great, and I'm going to score DCeased Dead Planet issue number 3 a 9 out of 10. But what did you think of DCeased Dead Planet issue number 3? Did you like it? Did you not? Please tell me why or why not in the comment section below. And if you like this video, I'd love it if you'd smash that like button, share it with some friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that notification bell for more comic book content. And if you're wondering what to watch next, consider one of these 2 videos. And don't forget to check out the other 2 videos for DCeased Dead Planet that you can check out right up here, as long as an entire playlist for the original DCeased and DCeased Unkillables. Alright, take care, have a great day, and as always, stay geeky.